Hello,
Yeah,
can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, sorry for the breakout.
Let's wait for others to join us.
Sorry, you said?
Let's wait for others. Let's wait for people to join this live so we can start.
Okay.
So in the next 2 minutes, we'll start. I
Okay, no
think
problem.
others are trying to join. Yes. All right. Welcome everyone. Welcome to the live section. You are all welcome. So, all right. I guess we can start now.
Okay.
Yeah. So, good evening, everyone. For everyone that is joining us, good evening. You are all welcome to the live section on how you can acquire tech skills that can lead you to land you a good job if you are going to Canada. You are all welcome. So we have few people. We are trying to see if others can join, but nevertheless, I think we can start so we can end this section on time. Okay. So I would like you, everybody, for those that are joining us live, to type where you are joining us from, so we can know where our participants, our listeners, are joining us from. If you don't mind, you can type it on the chat section. Kindly type where you're joining us from. Where are you tuning in? Okay, so one person. All right, Joseph Daniel, Lagos, Nigeria. All right, others, let's do that. Let's do that so we can start. I guess this connection internet, but that's fine. I think we can start. All right, for those of us that are listening to us, you are welcome to Amda Analytics YouTube Live. Here we talk to our brand ambassador. My name Victor. Victor, please can you introduce yourself to our audience?
Okay. Hello, my name is Victor. Although when you were greeting good evening, it's morning over here. Still just morning over here. So my name is Victor. I'm into data analytics. I live in Canada, Winnipeg to be precise. Yeah, and I'm a brand ambassador of Amda Analytics.
All right, you're welcome, Victor, and nice to have you here. So, seem not to have people on the live. What's going on? All right, let's start, please. So we
Okay.
have few things to discuss. We have few things to discuss about our movement. For people that want to move to Canada, okay, for people that are going to Canada, the latest trend now is JAPA. People want to JAPA. So for those people that want to leave Nigeria to another land, especially Canada, for a greener pasture. So Victor is here to enlighten us on the required skills on how you can get yourself prepared before coming to Canada. Okay, nice to have you here once again, Victor.
Thank you.
Glad to have you. All right, so we have a few questions we'd like to ask you, and then let's see how you can tackle that question, because that's some of the questions that some people do ask themselves. Okay, so why going to Canada? What are the special things? What are the technical skills? Or what are the things am I expected to have in order to learn that amazing job? You understand? Because people live in Nigeria or people live in Africa to the Western world, they're just going there for a greener pasture. They're just going there for a better life and a better pay. Okay, so we have some questions here that we want to ask you, and we believe that at the end of this section, those that are on the call and those that are listening and those that can still watch the live later we benefit from whatever you're going to say here.
Yeah.
All right. So number one question: what are some specific challenges newcomers to Canada face?
That is a very interesting question. Initially, the challenges most international students or newcomers face here in Canada is the housing issues. However, as time goes on, of late, the employment rates, the job opportunities here has become really something very difficult for international students. You see international students or newcomers here in Canada, those ones that are on PR or maybe those ones that are they're eligible to work here in Canada. You see them complaining they have applied for jobs 4 months, they have not heard anything from the companies. You keep complaining about job opportunities, they keep complaining about employment. But the problem is, are you really applying to the reader skill set? Because you see thousands of people applying to jobs that the employee can actually train anybody. Anybody can actually do that job. The thing is that the sad truth is that there are enough jobs in Canada, but nobody's applying to those jobs because they don't have that skill set. That is the problem. They don't have that skill set, to apply to those jobs. And most of the jobs you'll be talking about, because some persons might be asking me what skill set is this guy talking about now. Most skill sets that I'm talking about, especially the way the world is advancing now. We are going into IT space. The way the world is evolving into IT space. So most companies now are navigating from the analog system to digital system. So we are talking about the IT space. And if I want to even recommend any course for anybody to come here and do in Canada, I would recommend data analytics, because with the way the world is evolving and the rate at which data is becoming so precious and important for business decision, the demand for data analytics is on the rise. That is why I advise anybody that is coming to Canada, because thousands of companies here have one slot or one position for a data analyst to occupy in Canada here.
All right, thanks very much for that wonderful feedback. You said something that's so amazing, that there are some jobs, there are some skills that even the employee can actually train their employers. Okay, this is actually what I want from you. They can train the person within a couple of weeks, and the person can easily grab it. So that kind of thing, you don't really need somebody that has these technical skills.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Yeah. So thank you very much for that wonderful feedback from you. Right. So the second question we have here is how can acquiring a good skill set enhance job prospects and career advancement opportunities for immigrants?
If you want to enhance like I said earlier, if you want to enhance that job prospect here in Canada, we are talking about that same skill set. You have that competitive advantages over others. Let's say, for instance, now you came here with a good skill set, for instance, data analytics, which I advise anybody to come in here in Canada, not even Canada here, even the whole Western world. Anyway, you're going around the Western world, the rate at which data analytics is on the rise. So if you're coming here to Canada, you have that skill set. Let's say, for instance, data analytics. You see, you have that competitive advantage over your peers. That is those that are coming through student visa, through the study route, or those ones that are coming through permanent residency. Other advantages might include the flexibility. You see, here in Canada, you might see some persons might get job here in Canada as an international student. Coping with work and school here in Canada is something that has really been an issue for international students here. Though they give us you can work more than 20 hours, you can work anytime you like, you can work the number of hours you like here in Canada. But the biggest hurdle is the time factor, how they combine, school and work. So you getting that skill set, to give you that advantage because of the flexibility, that is to say, you can be working from the comfort of your own homes. You can actually, schedule the time that you can be working. That's why if I'm advising anybody to come here into Canada, not only even in Canada, any Western world you are going into, you should get that skill set so that once you come here, it's very easy for you to navigate into the system. And another thing I want to chip in is the career path. When you talk about data analytics, the career path is something amazing. That is to say, it is scalable. I will use the word scalable. That is to say, you can actually start from a data level entry analyst, and you can scale up to from data architect to chief data scientist.
Very well. Thank you very much. You said something very important, and that's what the flexibility. Okay, flexibility is one of the things that people look into when acquiring the tech skills.
Yeah.
They'll be like, okay, I can actually work from anywhere. I can work from home, right? And that's one of the amazing thing about tech, right? Most times you actually don't need your presence in the office. And I've been in Nigeria and I work for some companies. I work for some companies in UK, Canada, Australia, and I've not been there, of course. And then because of the technical skill that I have, I can easily work remote. Thank you very much. I think a friend of mine, no, one of my students, I was discussing with her yesterday and she said something. She said that she's actually a remote worker, that she has been doing a remote job since, I mean, I don't know how long then. And she's in UK. I was like, wow, that's so amazing. So it simply means that even you guys there can as well have access to this opportunity of working from home. Right. Thank you very much for shipping in that.
Yeah.
Right.
You're
Yeah.
welcome.
Yeah. Another question I have here is can you provide examples of industries or sectors in Canada where data analytics skills are particularly in demand for newcomers? You know why? People have this mindset that okay, I don't know where I can use this skill. Okay, you asked me to learn a technical skill before leaving Africa. Where can I even use these skills? Okay, I don't want to come over there and start searching for a job normally the way we do it here in Nigeria. So I want that particular, probably, is there any example? Is there anything that you feel like, okay, if you acquire this technical skill, if you come over here, these are the things that you can actually do. Okay, these are the industries that you feel like you should work into, and then trust me, you're going to get a job. Can you provide any good example of industries like that?
That's a very good and interesting question. You see, when I said earlier that data analytics has to do with, any company that has to do with numbers and data, like starting from government for starters, both the health sector, because some person now might be thinking the health sector, what am I doing as a data analyst in the health sector? You have to do with data, taking care of patients, compiling those data about the patients, anything that has to do with data, both the financial institutes, both the government for starters, both the health sector, anything that has to do with data. And I feel that even supermarkets, and I feel that any company here in Canada, at least there is a position that is meant for data analytics. And it mustn't be called, maybe sometimes they might not call that position to be a data analytics. They might actually call it either maybe data entry, because I know one of my friends here that is working here as in the health sector. He initially was working as a data entry analyst, where you just input data. Then he actually graduated from being just normal a data input analyst to a data analytics. So in a general aspect, what I'm trying to say is that any company here in Canada, majority of the whole companies here we have in Canada, be it both in the finance sector, be it banking sector, the health sector, the government parastatals, any company you can think of, so long as they deal with data, there is always a position for the data analyst in that company.
Perfect. You said it all. People believe that okay, because I acquired this skill as a data analyst, I can as a data analyst, or let me say data analytics. Okay, I can only work as a data analyst. So most of them they search for job that is only they see this job description data analyst. Okay, and you said it all that even as a data analyst, you can work in every sectors, in health sectors. All right, so we have people that we call health analysts. We have people that they call logistic analysts. So it's not a must that you will be a data analyst, or you will acquire that position or that job description that says data analyst. You can actually start somewhere. You can become a data analytics. Of course, the technical skills you have here. All right, so somebody who is actually working in the health sector is still making the use of the same technical skill, just that they are using them differently. Thank you very much for for shipping in that. And you said something that I would like to ship in now. Okay, we have these we have people believing that okay, if I acquire this skill, and actually I don't have money for any JAPA. Like
Mhm.
people can actually, I can see organization, I can see companies that want to sponsor my visa. Do you think that is actually is possible for
Yes, it's
for a
very possible.
Nigerian
I'll give a story of one of my friends. Sorry to cut you short. I'll give a story of one of my friends. I studied petroleum engineering back in my home country before I navigated into this space of IT. When I was in Nigeria, getting job into all this oil sector, it's very difficult, except you know somebody back in Nigeria. So this is my friend. We both studied petroleum engineering when I was in Nigeria. So this my friend, a friend of his advised him to go into the IT space. Then he was like searching out which course would I do into when I go into IT space. So he thought of going into data analytics. So after, because he didn't even go to school for that data analytics, he just went to a boot camp for that course. I think for 5 or 6 months. After he was done with that course, he applied to this company, this KMPG. These guys that are into auditing. He got an employment with a branch in Lagos. So he worked with them for a couple of years. And I graduated back in 2016. He graduated back in 2016. So he worked with them for a couple of years. Now he asked for transfer. As I'm talking to you now, this guy is currently in Canada working in Toronto.
wow.
So it's an opportunity for you. You can actually start from your home country. You can start from the shores of Africa. It doesn't really matter. Sometimes you might get companies that can even sponsor you, to come and further education here. Because as I told you earlier, Don, that this course called data analytics, it's something that is scalable. The career path is scalable. It's something like, okay, they say you started as a data entry level analyst. They can say, okay, we want to sponsor you to go abroad to go study, to acquire another skill that you can boost your career since you are coming to work for a company, just to sign that contract and stuff like that. You can get companies that can sponsor you, or you can actually get, like this my guy as an example. You can get companies that can do that transfer of people. They have a branch here in the Western world, and you're working in the shores of Africa. They can transfer you from the shores of Africa to here, Canada, or any Western world of your choice.
Wow, that's amazing. Thank you very much for clearing the air, because I have a lot of people out there that they will be like, okay, I want to travel out, but I don't have the money. If you are listening and you heard from Victor that it's possible, all you need to do is to put in the effort. All right. So for those people that they will just sit down and they feel like there is one job that will come from heaven and come and meet them. All right. All you need is to put in the possible best and then to achieve this. Thank you very much for that wonderful contribution, Victor.
Welcome.
Right. So, yeah, we have another question here. Are there any specific resources or programs available for immigrants to acquire or improve the skill set that they are talking about before or after arriving Canada?
You see, the ranges of there are enormous resources, both here in Western world. But I do advise people, anybody that want to, both you in Africa or you are here in Canada or any Western world, I do advise people, if you want to come, for instance, let's say still in the shores of Africa or any part around the world, not in the Western world. If you want to go into data analytics and you're looking for somewhere to learn from, I won't advise you to learn from this Western world because it's quite expensive. If you're in Africa or you're here watching me live and you're here in Canada and you feel that you want to go, learn data analytics, I would advise you to learn it from the shores of Africa. Why? Because it is cheaper. And secondly, if you go for job interviews, you see some people talking about, before you can work for any company here in Canada, you need that Canadian experience. That is not always true. I've gone to several, interviews here in Canada for this data analytics position. The only thing they ask you is, do you have that experience, or what project have you done? What project have you done? Not necessarily have you any Canadian experience or have you any Western world experience. If you ask you what project have you done, and I would advise anybody, if you want to learn data analytics, you learn it in the shores of Africa. One, because it is cheap, and secondly, you go to a boot camp that offer project-based method of teaching, because it doesn't make sense where they just give you a theoretical aspect. After learning everything, when you get to the job interview, then they start asking you questions. You can't even answer. Why? Because you have not done any project. So I want to advise anybody that want to learn data analytics to go for boot camp that is they offer project based. And if I want to advise you, I will advise you to go to Amdo Analytics because they have been tested and trusted. That's what I have to say about that.
All right, thank you very much for that wonderful contribution, Victor. You said something, you said project based, and that just it, okay? And most people, they will be asking you, what have you done? What have you done? So I do advise people actually that learning any technical skills, especially all these data analytics, okay? See,
Yeah.
showcase it out there. Let people know that this is what you do. Your LinkedIn is there for you to put in all these things that you are doing. Let people know that okay, this is who I am and this is what I do. Because people will be looking at okay, what have you done? Not what is your experience. I know a friend that the guy left Nigeria last year, I think first quarter of last year. Okay, no, 2022. He was working here in Nigeria as a banker, and then he left. When he got to Canada, same Canada, when he got there, he has to start looking for a job. Then he acquired our boot camp program. And then during the program, because actually what we do is project based, right? So when he got there, he said something because he told me, he said that they were asking him, what have you done? And it was the same projects that we do in the classroom and the same custom projects, everything that we do both during the class and the capstone project. That was actually what he shared with them that okay, this is what I have done. You know, like maneuver it, I've worked with social company and all that, and this is the year. So and that's how people get employed. So sometimes it's actually not I want to get one probably when I get there, I have to just do anyhow job to get this experience. Just put in projects out there, let people know that this is who I am, this is what I do. And he said something, go for project-based trainings. Project-based trainings, okay? And not people that will just out there and they will teach you this normal PDF thing and they will give you one probably one handout to go and read. We have a lot of students that are doing their masters out there that we handle. I and my teams, we handle their projects. We handle their projects, okay? Thank you very much for that wonderful contribution. And I have my very good senior colleague in the house, Dr. Maxwell. You're welcome, sir. All right. So I have another question here for you. So if someone is interested in data analytics, what steps should they take to specialize in that area? Now I am a let me say I'm a data enthusiast. I'm very, very interested in this data analytics. What are the steps that you feel that I should take to to specialize in that being a data analyst?
You know, one thing I believe in this life is that's a very interesting question. One thing I believe in this life, for anything you want to do in this life, you first of all believe in yourself. If you believe in yourself, then you find a good mentor. A mentor mustn't necessarily be a person, it might be a boot camp, it might be a school. You believe in yourself first, then you find a very good mentor in form of a boot camp. And then the rest will be history. That's just all I have to say for anybody that want to go into data analytics. You want to switch. It mustn't necessarily you being, you had any background in IT or any background in data analytics. Because when I switched from engineering to the IT space, I never had any background in IT or data analytics. I just believed that okay, this is what I can do, and with the necessary resources I had from that bootcamp, and it was just a history for me. Like it made it very possible for me, to achieve my goals.
Yeah, you said something, mentorship, and that's actually truth. If you want to go far in life, in your career, in your field, just get a mentor. Mentorship is very, very important. Okay. A mentor is actually that person that will guide you, hold your hands, tell you the truth. And this is actually some of our mistakes so that you will not make the same mistake. I think last time we had this same YouTube live, we talked about that mentorship very well, and people actually learned a lot. I myself, I learned a lot from that mentorship. And the person that was on call that day with us was one of my very good mentor in the industry, and he actually spoke. He spoke very well about that wonderful contribution, Victor. So, in
Yeah,
what ways? Yeah, in what ways can a good skill contribute to the successful settlement and integration into Canadian society?
not only even as a data analyst. Imagine yourself being a data analyst, and you got that skill set. You got that skill set, and when you get to Canada, the comparative advantage. You have that comparative advantage. In fact, in general aspect, what I would say is that the labor market integration. for any society you go to around the world, for me, I feel that if you can actually integrate into their labor system, that is the labor force, you can actually integrate into that system easily. Why? Because if you look at the labor market, it talks about the health sector, the banking sector, the finance sector. That is, for me, I feel that the labor market is actually the blueprint of any system you go around the world, like any country you go, the system of any countries. For me, it's built around the labor system, because without that labor system, I don't think that any system can function. So for me, if you can actually, integrate into the labor system perfectly, like integrate into the labor system very well and, with ease, it'll be very easy for you, to integrate into the system very well. Let's say, for instance, if you talk of any country, let's look at the financial sector. You talk of the health sector. Now you talk about the government parastatals. I think with only these three sectors, it has made up at least 80 to 70% of that system of that country. So if you can easily, migrate into the labor system, it is very easy for you, to navigate into the system of that country. That's just all I have to say about that.
Thank you very much for that. If you can actually integrate into any one of these systems, then you are good to go. You are good to go. Thank you very much for that. Okay, can you share any source? I know that you said something about your friend that are actually moving, but let's hear from you again. Let's ask this again. Okay, can you share any success stories of immigrants who have leveraged their skills to excel in their careers or businesses in Canada?
There's one
Do
of
you
my
have any?
friends. Yes, and sorry for cutting you short. There's this one of my friends. We are also together in school back then in the university. All of us were studying petroleum engineering. This guy left school without even finishing, without even graduating, because he started this coding of it, and I was like, what is this guy even doing? We are about to, do our project when this guy got an offer in Berlin. I don't know, maybe he might later on watch this video. Harrison, his name is Harrison. He got, although he was into software engineering, but along the line he switched into that has something to do with, I've forgotten the name of that skill set, but it has something to do with data. Do you understand? So this guy, when we were about doing our project, this guy was actually learning all those coding, both Python and SQL, the Tableau and what you have to do with that skill set. So when he was done with that, he applied for this job. Initially he got an offer to work with a company in UK while in Nigeria. He started earning in pounds while he was in Nigeria, still in school. We found out when this guy wasn't coming to classes, then we started asking him questions. Then we found out that, this guy has gotten an offer. He was living in Imo State, to be precise. He was working for a company in the UK, that is in the United Kingdom. When for some time after we graduated from school, then the guy later moved to Berlin, to go and work for another bigger company. He got a bigger offer, to go work for a bigger company in Berlin. So what I advise anybody that want to do anything, that if you want to really learn anything, or want to switch into the IT space, and you feel that if I'm done with this thing, where will I even get this job? Or if I'm done with this career, how will I even get money to travel abroad? It doesn't really matter. If you can optimize your LinkedIn, like you can arrange your LinkedIn and submit those your CV there, you are good to go, because your location doesn't even really matter, because there are thousands of companies here with LMIA, that is LMIA sponsored companies, who are willing to sponsor foreign workers to work for them remotely, not necessarily coming to Canada here to come and work, or maybe US or any Western world. So I advise you that if it's something that you want to do, you just go for it. And once you understand with the way the world is evolving, with time to come, the whole world, I don't know how I will put it, the world as in general, we move from analog to digital. And when we talk about digital, it's talking about IT. So, and data. You see this thing called gold, how we pressure gold, how gold is important and how our currency is important. Time will come when data will be very important. They will treasure this data as the treasure, gold and this thing, because it will be one of the most, valuable assets this world will ever have.
Wow. Thank you very much. You said that there will be time that will treasure data more than every other thing in the world. Wow. According to statistics, I heard that I think so years to come, right? Years to come, most of the job that people do can actually be doing by those that have these technical skills. That simply means that if you don't have technical skill, yeah, time is coming when the person will be out of job. Right?
Exactly.
You said something that I love, that I want to ask you a question on that. You said that a friend of yours dropped out from school and
Yeah,
then moved into IT fully.
exactly.
Now I want to ask, I want to ask, do you feel that people without educational background can function well in technology?
Obviously, it's obviously. It mustn't necessarily you going to school, to go study a 4-year degree. It is good to, to go to school, to go acquire that skill. But there are other options which you can also navigate, to still hit that target point. That is to say, going to boot camps, doing your 4 months course, just go for a 4-month course and you're good to go. And the good thing that I said earlier, the project-based method of teaching, the project-based method of learning is one of the best way, you can actually impact yourself if you want to go into the IT space, because most companies abroad, they don't really need you all those your certificate. What they want is, what project have you done? So what have you done? What project have you done? Even given the fact that you don't have any experience in that field, but what project have you done? And if I want to any advise anybody that I want to go into IT space that are looking to study data analytics, as I said earlier, data analytics is your surest plug, for such skill.
All right, thank you very much. She said something, and then that just bounced back to what to project. Okay, now he said something that it's actually not about the educational background. People believe that okay, even if though I'm a graduate and I have this knowledge, all right, and I don't have any background in computer science. I don't have any background in doing all this Python coding back then in university. So what Victor is saying here is that it doesn't matter if you have this bootcamp, right, and they cannot actually bring this thing down to you, project based, you can easily learn these things. Okay, I know a sister, all right, one of my students, I think last year, she's a July cohort. She said something. When I was discussing with her, she told me that her brother, who is actually not a graduate, is doing well in the tech. And the guy she said something that it's not really that it's true that her brother, that she know that it's not really about education, because she's a barrister. She's doing well. But I think the way she sang that day, I feel that her brother probably dropped out from university. And the way she said, this my brother is doing well, and he didn't even go anywhere, and he's doing well. So simply means that actually tech is not about your educational background. It's not about, I didn't study computer science back then in university, and I studied economics, and then by the grace of God, we are doing well in the tech. Okay, it simply means that if you want to acquire this technical skill, go for project-based company. And he said something. Amda Analytics is here to hold their hands. We have people, experts that are doing well in actually in the industry, that will hold their hands and lead this through. Okay, I think the last question we have for you here. Oh, so far, thank you very much for that, all your contributions, Victor.
And sorry
Yes,
for cutting you. I need to chip in something. You keep asking me, do I have any example? I'm a typical example because I never had any background in IT. I switched into IT when I came to Canada here. Though I switched into IT, I got that advice. One of my friends who is into IT here asked me that, because my mindset was when I get to Canada here, I was actually coming for the health sector. If you go to Nigeria, you go to any Western any country in Africa, at the shores of Africa, you see people keep talking about nursing, health sector, nursing, money is there, health sector. But the thing they fail to understand, quite all right, there's money in the health sector, like you being a nurse here in Canada, and registered nurse or a laboratory nurse, there's enough money in the health sector. But one thing people fail to understand is you go for skills that the flexibility is there, that you balance your work and your personal life. That is one thing I always understand since I arrived Canada here, to balance that your work and personal life. And that is one thing, that IT space is there to give you. Balance that your work and personal life. And you see, for instance, like you're on a vacation, maybe in Dubai, or in a vacation in any part of the world, you see yourself working while on vacation, because you just need only your laptop. And I even have another example of my friend who lives in Munich. He actually traveled to get married during that, I think sometimes last year, I think during December period, he traveled to Nigeria to go get married. Although he's into the IT space, he deals in machine learning. It's also about data analytics. I think machine learning and data analytics. This guy is actually in Nigeria doing his wedding. When he was done with his wedding, during his honeymoon, he's actually working from Nigeria for a company in Germany here. So one thing I would like to advise anybody, if you are going for any career path, you go for something that that will balance that your work and your personal life, because that is the most important thing. Because you might be getting that money, but that life and that your work and personal life, if it's not balanced, there's nothing to write home about that. Because at the end of the day, you're not getting that fulfillment that you ever dreamt of. Because you might see some persons might be saying, I just need the money, or I want to go and cash out this money, I won't get this money. That is not the end goal. The end goal is that balance that your work and personal life, and you see everything going for you well. And the good thing is that balancing your work and personal life doesn't really mean that, okay, you want to balance your work and personal life, there's no really money in that IT space. No, that is, you are getting it wrong. There is a lot of money in IT space. And secondly, balancing your work and personal life is something you have to prioritize when, going into that skill set or any career you endeavor to go to in your life.
Wow, thank you very much for that, Victor. I think I have to say something about myself as well. Okay. Yeah, so after my service, I got a job offer to work with one of the big company, logistic company, and then in Ikeja, Lagos, Nigeria. So I was like, okay, but at the point, because I've moved into IT, but not fully into IT. But then I was just telling myself, actually, don't need the job, that I can do better if I can move, take my time, and go into IT. You understand? But at the point, because of if somebody actually want to give me the job, I didn't apply for it. Somebody who is the HR now of the organization called me, okay, submit your CV. I was like, okay, if somebody is trying to help you, okay, let me charge you, go and do it. At the point, I just got in my spirit that that job is not for me, and then it was actually somebody that I brought in that they took over me. Yeah. So, but then I stayed like about 2 weeks or thereabout. I got another job that's the former job, the first job we are paying me about triple of what the current job that I got was actually said that they're going to pay me. But I was like, okay, it's nothing. I can still take it because I believe so much in tech that, okay, if I move into tech space, there's going to be a lot of opportunities out there. There's going to be a lot of flexibilities, just like you said. And I've been working for over 2 years now. I've been working for over two
That,
years, if not more than. And I've not been to any office. I've not been
yes.
to any office. It's
And so,
just purely this job.
some persons need to understand is they might be talking about data analytics and they feel that you just have to write in coding, you just have to be coding and coding. No, it's not necessarily coding. If you are good with SQL, you are good to go, because most companies here in Canada, if you go for any job interview here, the only skill they ask you, do you have that basic skill, which is the SQL? That is, you have that SQL basic skill. And once you understand what SQL is, it is something, and where will I even put it? It is user friendly. When I started using SQL and of course, Tableau, because you need it to learn visualization if you're into data analytics. I feel that those how will I put it? Those software are something like you're just writing English. Unlike other IT courses such as
Programming language.
maybe either software engineering or cyber security, where you'll be writing series of codes such as HTML, such as C++, Java. In data analytics, you don't really need all those codes for a start, like all those writing of those massive code for a start. With SQL, and you are good to go. And once you understand about SQL, it is user friendly, something that you, without an IT, you don't have any IT background, you can easily learn. I'm a typical example because I don't have any background in IT, though I studied engineering, but I never had any background in any IT or about coding or anything. But I can tell you now, I can write SQL very well. Like if you're writing that SQL, it feels like you're just writing English, talking to the computer in English. You're trying to query a table, like you're trying to get some data from maybe they gave you a database now and they ask you to query that table to get some useful information from there. It's just like you writing English, please give me this thing from here, give me this thing from there, unlike writing those massive code. That's what I have to say about data analytics. The ease at which migrates into the system as a data analyst. It doesn't really need all those too much code. All you just have to get is that basic skilling, SQL, and yeah, good to go. And of course, Tableau.
Yeah, thank you very much for that wonderful contribution. Yeah, SQL is one of the in-demand technical skill that every data analyst should note. Like you need to know it. And just like you said, I remember I've encountered someone. I met someone who said to me, see, Eba, I don't want to write anything. I don't want to write any code. I was just telling this guy, writing code in SQL, or it's just a programming language. Okay, all you need to do is to understand English. If you can speak English, you can use it SQL. Moreover, is a structured coding language. So if you can speak English, you are good to go. Right. Thank you very much for
Welcome.
thank you very much. So guys, if you have any question and you're listening, you have any question, you can easily type the question in the chat section. Let Victor take it up from there. If you have any question, please Drop your question. Drop your question, guys. All right. So thank you for this wonderful section. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
We really appreciate you. Personally, I appreciate you, all your wonderful contributions. I
You're
love
welcome.
that. Okay. I myself have learned a lot that it's not about health sector now. So if I'm going to Canada, now I should come in because I have this technical skill. You understand?
Yeah, exactly.
I should be coming. I should not bother myself about health. It's not only
No,
health.
on the
So
most
people
on the
that
most serious note, seriously, on the most seriously, you don't really need to bother yourself about going into the health sector. You can even decide to even go into the health sector, working as a non-clinical support, non-clinical worker. That is to say, if you're not a clinical worker, you can be a non-clinical worker. That is to say, working in the IT space, because of obviously any big hospital here in Canada or any big health sector here in Canada, they must have data that they are dealing with. Do you understand?
course.
They have data that they're dealing with, and they need, the data analyst, to help them with those data. Because I feel that any business that you want to start up, or it mustn't necessarily be the money involved. Because if you want to start up any business, why I feel that analyst or data analytics is a career some you need to look into or you need to consider going for it. If you want to start any business, or you started any business, and you have the money, it mustn't necessarily be that money. You need to use that data to do your feasibility analysis to check whether this business is feasible or not. And for you to do that feasibility analysis, you need your data, to run all those feasibility analysis. That is to say, okay, I make this amount this year from these customers here, from this customer, maybe from the shores of Africa, from the shores of Asia, any part of the world. You gather those data, you run your feasibility analysis, you query those data, do some analysis, and you get results from there to tell you whether to set up this business or not. It doesn't necessarily be having that money. It's simply just getting that data. And for you, to go around with those data, you need a data analyst, and the demand for this data analyst is on the rise. That is why I do advise people, to opt for that skill. Even if you have another skill, let's say you're into cyber security, it is something you can even you can try to consider and see how it goes from there. And the most important thing is that it is scalable. You can advance, you keep advancing, unlike other career that you're just stuck in one position. But for data analysts, you start from entry level data analyst, you keep advancing to data architect, to data science, to data engineer, all the way to chief data officer, and there you go. You just be fulfilled in life.
He said it is scalable. So I've been in tech for over 4 years now, and I'm still learning. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm still learning. Simply means that just like what you said. So it's not actually something that when you acquire, you say that, oh, I'm good with this. No, you continue learning. Okay.
Yes.
From here, from data analytics, you might want to move to data science, you might want to move to data engineer, those that work with data pipeline and thereabout. So guys, we are not getting any question. That simply means that it's actually well delivered. Okay. All right. So for those of us that are listening to us that are meeting us first time, okay, Victor is actually our brand ambassador who is everywhere. He's on TikTok, he's on LinkedIn, he's on Twitter, he's on Facebook, and he's here on YouTube as well. You can follow him, right? If you can follow him. And then as well, our programs, our next cohort will be starting on 9th of March. 9th of March. For those of us that want to kickstart your data analytics journey with us, you are all welcome. We welcome you. And we want to employ you that let you know that this actually not something that you will take and you will regret it. No, just like he said, our programs are project based, starting from our SQL, from our Excel, because we treat Excel, okay, and then Power BI and SQL, and even predictive analytics. Some other things we train you on how to use ChatGPT for data analytics. Not just that, there are other benefits that you will get from learning from us, right? And I always tell people something. We are not just Amda Analytics for nothing. We are Amda Analytics for something, okay? We represent something, okay? And that's what we represent, the value over quantity, all right? So that is actually quality over quantity. We deliver maximum value, maximum value. We have a lot of students out there that have done this training from us. You can check us out on LinkedIn. We're everywhere too. So you can check us out on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok as well. We are there. And this here on YouTube, you can check us out. And then if you have any question, you can always reach out to us, okay? And I want to tell you something. Please start your program now. Start your program now. Don't wait. Okay. For those of us that waited to buy something, you all know what Nigeria is all about now. Okay, probably you said, see that thing, but I'm supposed to buy it January, but just leave it till February. And now February, the prices are no longer the same. Okay, you don't wait, don't keep yourself holding. Okay, our programs are 200,000 naira if you are paying in naira, and then $200 if you are paying in dollar. Okay, and then we are encouraging you to please register for the program because it's something that you will never regret. We have testimonies out there. You can check us out and you see the amazing things that our students are doing. Now, we are not the tech company that will promise you that we're going to do that and we're not going to do that. It's never and has never happened. Okay. Our program, the next call will be starting on 9th of March. So we'd like to see you. We would like you to register for our program. Thank you very much, and thank you, Victor, for a
Yeah.
wonderful
Maybe I
session.
have to sorry, I have to chip in something. The price is quite affordable compared to boot camps here in the Western world. You can go for an average of $5,000. For $5,000, learning any boot camp here, maybe 4 or 6 months, it goes for like $5,000. So I wouldn't advise anybody, if you are watching me live and you are living in the shores of, maybe you are living in a Western world, maybe it's US or France or anywhere you're watching me live. If you want to learn data analytics, you can as well, go with AMDA Analytics because it is cheap compared to any um boot camp here in Western world. I'm telling you for sure. Why? Because I've done my own research. Seriously, I've done my own research. You can as well do your own research and see what I'm talking about. You know, you go with AMDA Analytics, you do because they are cheap. I keep saying it, they are so cheap, like they are so the price is quite affordable compared to this Western world. The average you can get plus or minus is 5,000 Canadian dollars or US dollars. That is the cheapest you can get here in Canada. The cheapest you can get is like 5,000. Take out 5,000 if you're doing the exchange rate now, it's way over 6 million naira for just 4 months. You understand? And the good thing is that if you are done with AMDA Analytics, you can actually use it, to apply for jobs here in Canada, to get that job. So long as you have that, you got that basic, project-based method of learning, which is what most companies, want you to get. Because obviously, you can't expect anybody that just graduated from, a boot camp to get that skill set. Where would you expect the person to get that skill set? Except, doing that project where they want to start from as an entry data level analyst. That's just what I have to chip in.
Yeah, thank you very much for that. And aside from that, okay, we give a reference letter and recommendation letter in case organizations are asking you, okay, for those people that have actually worked for, what we do advise our students, because after our training, you go for 1 month custom project. Okay, you can actually use our AMD analytics as a work experience, because some organizations that they'll be like, okay, I want probably where have you worked? So you use Ant Analytics as a work experience. You have done internship with us, or you are one of our data consultants. So, and then that simply means that if you apply for a job and they are asking for a recommendation letter or reference letter, we do give it out. And it's actually another benefit for our students.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much for that wonderful presentation, Victor. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So, guys, I think we will come to the end of our live session. So, if you have any question, please reach out to me, or reach out to us, or reach out to Victor if you want to. If you have any question for Victor, okay, he's everywhere. Just like I said, he's on TikTok, he's on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. He's everywhere. Okay, reach out to him, and then see you in the class. Bye, guys.
Okay. Bye.
Bye, Victor. Yeah,
Bye.
bye.